Welcome everyone to Mythic Fetid Devourer, brought to you in part by Potato Bandit. I'm going to jump right into this one today. What is the main difference between Heroic and Mythic's mechanics on this fight? There are two things. One, the adds. There's a third add that spawns on this fight, and now they all have to die. You can't just ignore them and tank and spank the boss like you can on normal and Heroic. They don't really do anything different on this mode, but there's an extra one. The second mechanic is this ring you're seeing popping up around people randomly here, which is this malodorous miasma thing. Basically what it does is it's a dot for 15 seconds, and as it times out, the circle around you grows larger and does a burst, sorta. It's a small burst of damage at the end as it times out. And if you touch anybody with this ring, it will spread the dot to them. And the thing that makes this problematic isn't so much the base dot itself, it's the fact that it stacks up. So you really don't want to spread this debuff around too much if you can help it. Now if you guys noticed there, I did let the stomp knock me back this time, because I wanted it to blow me back to this corner here so I can get down that first ad, and then I'm gonna leap charge over here to the second big ad, and the raid is split into two groups here, so the other ad on the other end of the room is taken care of, so I can go ahead and start cleaving onto this big ad here, because these have to die. If you don't get them down on Mythic before the boss goes over to eat them, it's a wipe, because he just heals up to full. Now, this fight is a lot of repetition and a little bit of RNG and a lot of positioning, so as you see here, I'm going to move back to my original spot on the back left foot of the Fetid Devourer here, because I want to give all the melee around me as much room as we can possibly have in case all of us end up getting this debuff at the same time. And it's really unfortunate when that happens, but there's nothing you can do about it. You do want to keep track of the shockwave stomp timer as much as possible here, especially as a warrior, because I'm going to be using it to generate rage and also have better uptime on the boss. Now you can see the garbage chute here. It lets you know when the next ad is going to spawn and where it spawns. So as soon as that drops, I'm immediately looking over there to charge it and start blade storming and, you know, going ham on it. And this is the second part. You really have to save your cooldowns for each of the ad windows here, because the ads are actually a pretty tight timer to actually bring down in time. So if you're not saving Warbreaker and Blade Storm, especially for those ads, you're not going to kill them in time. So I jumped over my tanks here because I didn't want to spread the debuff as much as I could. It's pretty tight here, but it looks like, you know, they don't have to move any. One thing you do want to be doing as an arms warrior, at least on this fight, is when you do swap over to that big ad each time, you know, if your tanks are keeping the boss in the same position every time like ours are, then you can go ahead and sweeping strikes on to the boss with the ad. Especially useful during the execute phase, because you're going to be getting the extra rage generation off the refund from sweeping strikes in both of your executes. Now another thing I do occasionally, it's like every other one, you can go ahead and Warbreaker the ad immediately, the big ad that is, because it's gonna, you know, give you enough uptime with the haste buff to get it back again for the small ads. Now, when I got knocked back here, if you notice there, I actually popped Warbreaker too soon. I missed the ad completely. It didn't even spawn, so I done goofed a little bit there, but wasn't too big of a deal. We still got it down in time. Now I'm gonna leap over and try to keep this debuff, you know, separated as much as possible, but there does come a point when, as it's timing out, people around you really got to be paying attention as well. So I'm not going to be able to move back into my original position here. Rather than try and move this thing around, I'm just going to stand still and let people move around me instead. And after the third ad set goes down during this fight, it's just a burn. We just ignore the fourth ad set. We either kill the boss or he kills us. Now one thing I did want to point out on the breath on this fight is it puts out that little graphic on the ground, the cone, before it actually goes off. Now that thing actually is really tight, so I noticed a lot of people get really scared and move way off to the side of him. You can stand right next to his face as long as you're not in that cone when it goes off, and you'll be completely fine. And basically, yeah, it's just a burn from 30% onwards, and that's the end of the fight. Hope you guys enjoyed today, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.